Hello there guys, this is MyBitcoin. This is the liquidity locker which is on deep lock. As you can see, it's locked for just over 6 months, but it wasn't. And this caused a lot of panic. A lot of people dumped their tokens over the past few days because this was originally locked for just 2 days. Yet the developer had told people that he was locking it for 6 months. So he was locking it for 6 months, but he did a preliminary lock for just a couple of days, just to make sure everything was okay with the token, because if there was a problem, he would have been able to fix it. If he needed to redeploy or any of that nonsense, he would have been able to get the liquidity after 2 days and then redeploy the token and put it right. So that's what his thinking was. He just wanted to make sure everything went smoothly without having to wait 6 months. But rather than telling people that and being fully transparent about it, he said to people, I'm going to lock the liquidity for 6 months, and then he only locked it for 2 days. Then people said, can you send me the liquidity locker URL? And he panicked. Now, a couple of days had already passed by this time, so the locker was about to expire. But he sent me a message. He says, I'm really panicking. I've told people that I've locked the liquidity for 6 months, and I've only locked it for a couple of days, and there's a couple of hours left on the lock. What do I do? And I was like, well, why did you tell people 6 months if it's only this short amount of time? Now, obviously, we now know why he did that. He just wanted to make sure everything was great before he committed to a longer lock. So that was the thinking behind it. But I mean, I trust this guy trusts me, but the people who buy into his token have no idea that the guy is someone you can trust. They're just looking at a locker that expires in a very short amount of time, thinking this could rug. And they're dead right to think that. That's not the way he should have done it. He should have just said to people, you know, I'm going to lock for a couple of days to make sure everything's okay. If you're not comfortable with that, just hang on and don't buy just yet. After the 2 days have gone by, I will lock it for 6 months, and then you can buy if you want to. I just want to make sure everything is fine before we go forward with a long commitment. So that's what he should have said. So he contacted me and he said he was panicking. Now, by this time, I think there was about an hour and 20 minutes left on the lock, something like that. So I said, we'll hang on for a bit. When the lock opens, just relock it, give the people the lock address, and then tell them very clearly and be transparent exactly what has happened. Now, some people had found the locker themselves, so obviously it was already out there that it was a very short lock, and he needed to tell those people. But I did say, because it's a really short amount of time, just get the new lock first, because then if you can give that to people, they're not going to panic. But if you just suddenly release to the public, yeah, it unlocks in about an hour, sorry about that, you know, I lied, that's going to be awful. So that's what I advised him to do. He said, will you lock it for me? And I was like, well, I don't need to lock it. As long as they see the URL, it will be fine. He says, well, I trust you. I want you to do it. So I dialed into his computer, and we both sat there together, going through the lock process. We waited for the timer to tick down. Once it had expired, I took full control of his computer and his wallet, and I removed the liquidity from the locker. I then created a new locker, which is this one, and I added like all of those LP tokens into the new locker. So I was in his computer having full control, moving around $250,000 and putting it safely back in a lock. So I did this. But of course, it is on his wallet. It's not on my wallet. So I had full control of his wallet, and I recreated the locker. So it's now locked for the 6 months that he originally promised. So that's the locker. Let's take a little look at the token. But first of all, let's have a look at the YouTube video I made the other day on this. So this was on July the 13th. It's now July the 17th. So it's like 4-ish days ago. I'm not sure what time I made that, but it's about 4 days ago. And at the time, this is how the token was doing. So that was the chart. It was looking pretty good. Obviously, all this happened before people started to panic and dump the token and things. So the price did go down. But I had 1.26 million tokens. I still have exactly the same number. I've not sold a single token. I haven't bought any more. And they were worth $383. I also had, by this stage, and it was quite a new token, I had $2.84 in my rewards for the Bitcoin. Now, it's called BTCB because that's the Binance-like peg version of Bitcoin. So it's tethered to Bitcoin. As you can see, it follows the price. So I am essentially being rewarded Bitcoin, but it's the Binance version. And I'd made $2.84 worth, which was pretty good. And as I said before, I was sitting on 383. So if I go over to the chart right now, this is what it currently looks like. It did have a huge dump. I'm in a 1 minute chart, so that wasn't long ago. I kept hold of the token, so I believe in it. I watched the dump. I watched it go back up. I watched it dump again. And I've been watching this for a while. It has quite decent buys coming in. I think buys and sells are healthy. I was very worried about this, but I do believe in the project, so I thought it would get bought back up, and it has done. So yeah, it's gone up and down. But as those things happen, it feeds money into the reward system that gives you the Bitcoin. So I've now got $90.70 worth of Bitcoin, which is only a few days later, which is awesome. Now you did see it just went down a tiny bit then. That's simply because the price of Bitcoin constantly fluctuates, like any token. But of course, the price of Bitcoin is more stable than the price of this because there's lots more holders. So I've got about $90 worth of Bitcoin. When I loaded up this page a short while ago, I had about $3,000. I'll just zoom in. $3,000 worth of the MyBTC, my Bitcoin token. But as you can see, it has gone up a little bit, and I've now got $3,842 worth. So that's where I'm currently sitting on this. As I say, I've not sold, I haven't bought any more. You can see I've still got the 1261, this number here, which is my current holding. And if we look at the video I made the other day, you can see it's exactly the same number. So it's not going up. There are not reflections in this particular token as there would be on many others. It's exactly the same. It's just got a couple of extra decimals on there. So yeah, it's not changed. I haven't bought any. I haven't sold any. I'm just holding on to it. But what is increasing is the value of it, obviously, as the price changes. That can go up and down. But I'm increasing in the number of the Bitcoin that I'm receiving because the reflections or the rewards, rather than going here, are going into my wallet as Bitcoin. So that's what I really, really like about this one. I'm just going to sit there and hold it. Oh, we're so close to 4,000. Let's take a little look at what caused that green candle that we just saw appear. So there should be a reasonably big, oh, I'll scroll up. So we've got a 7 BNB buy, a 15 BNB buy. So those two buys just there, a 7, well, almost an 8 and a 15 BNB buy is what's just caused that little bump. I've seen quite a few 25 BNBs on this. So it's getting a lot of attention. People are putting money into it. Obviously, there's a 25 just there, look, so 7,000. And if you look at the timestamps on these, there is quite a bit of activity. I mean, if we look on the 38-minute mark here, you can see there's quite a few buys going into that period of time. Now, some of these red on the chart are actually going to be the tokenomics, which is selling some tokens, turning them into the Bitcoin token that it's given as reward. So sometimes you'll see some red on the chart and it's not actually a sale, it's just tokenomics working. And you see that all the time on every chart. So there we go. I believe in this one. I am going to be holding this one for a very, very long time. I believe in the developer. And there we go. How lovely for a final touch on the video. So I'm now at just over $4,000. And as you've seen before, I was previously, did I manage to catch the top of the chart? No, I didn't. I'm currently on I was on $383 when I made the video before. So I've done, over a 10x. In the very short amount of time between the last video and this one. So I hope that you might have watched the last video when I posted it and maybe bought into this token and you've seen that kind of gain as well. So that's what I hope. But yeah, I do know the guy behind it and I trust him. He obviously trusts me because he trusted me to be in his computer, having control over his wallet and of course moving that $250,000 of liquidity around to create the new lock. So it's starting to go. Let's have a little look again at what's going on. We've got a lot of green. So we got about a 10 BNB just came in, look, so about a $3,000, which we saw a little bump on that candle. So I was a little bit worried about these dumps as they happened, but I did think this will get eaten up and we can see that it is. And it is now well on its way to the all-time high that it hit here when all those people sold. So it's certainly recovering this, and this is a 1 minute chart, so that's not a huge amount of time. This was only like 4 hours ago, so that was 11:18 in my time, and it's now 15:47. So yeah, really impressive recovery from such a huge dump. So I like it. I'm going to be holding it, and I hope that you got some and you've already made profits. I hope that you're enjoying those Bitcoin rewards in your wallet. I'm just going to ignore this one and I will be using the Bitcoin rewards, but I'm not going to be touching this token. If anything like this happens again with a big dump, then I'm going to be buying a lot more of it. In fact, it would be prudent of me to buy it now, but I'm just going to hang on and I'm going to see if anything like this happens again when it gets high, because people do take profits. And if that happens again, I'm definitely buying more. There we go, guys. I hope that puts your mind at ease about what was going on with the liquidity. It wasn't the right thing to do. With these kind of things, you have to be fully transparent. You have to tell people what he should have done is he should have said, I'm a bit worried about the token. I want to test it first. I don't want to commit myself to 6 months. I'm just locking for, you know, a day, 2 days or whatever. Let's see if everything works fine. If you're not happy with that, wait and buy after those couple of days, because then it'll be 6 months. That's what he should have said. And I'm pretty sure if he ever does this kind of thing again, then that's probably the route he will take, because he did really, really panic when people were saying, what's the address of that 6 month locker? And there wasn't a 6 month locker. There was one that at the time expired in just a few hours. So there we go. Take care, guys. Have a good day. Bye-bye.